Yo, what is good, you guys? My name is Crazy Pie. In this video, we are going to be going over pretty much the one and only gun that can outgun, not really outgun, that is better, I should say, than the G7 Scout. I've seen a lot of hate towards the G7 Scout in the past couple of months in Apex Legends because the thing, let's be real here, the thing is an absolute monster. The G7 Scout, a little bit overpowered, you know, it is a little god tier, a little bit on the overpowered side in the game, and now we have a contender. We have someone stepping up to the plate, someone stepping up to the ring, which we are going to be going over in this video. Now, the gun that I'm going to be talking about here is the Havoc. Now, the Havoc, in my opinion, not so much statistically speaking, you know, you'd have to be a little bit of a better player, and you know, you'd have to have a little bit of luck on your side as well. Havoc is a better gun than the G7, alright, hands down. Now, the G7 is all around a more versatile gun. You know, the Havoc is really only going to be better if you have the turbocharger attachment. However, once you do have that turbocharger attachment, the Havoc is pretty much going to be the best gun in all of Apex Legends. Now, you can argue all you want down in the comment section below. Comment down below which one you like better, Havoc or G7, or heck, which gun you think is better than the G7. I'm actually curious to read that and have a discussion down there below. But if we're going to go dive into the stats of these two guns here, you will see just how better the Havoc is. Now, the stats, don't let the stats fool you, alright? The G7 100% has the stats in the bag, they win, but the fire rate of the Havoc, once it's fully charged, is absolutely unreal. Now, don't get me wrong, if you don't have the turbocharger, the Havoc wholeheartedly isn't really that good. If you do have the turbocharger, the Havoc is 100% going to be better, and I'd even argue that the Havoc is one of the better guns in the entire game if you have the turbocharger. Now, let's dive into the stats here. So, the stats for the G7, obviously it uses light rounds. That's a big advantage in my opinion because I'm pretty sure most people can agree, light rounds are a lot easier to find than energy rounds. There's really only like 3 to 4 different types of energy weapons that you'll usually find scattered across the ground, and you know, to be honest here, you won't really find them as much when there's just way more, you know, guns that use light rounds. So it obviously makes sense that you'll find more light rounds across the ground. That's a big advantage in the G7 because you'll have an easier time, you know, finding ammo, and you really won't ever run out of ammo with the G7 because you'll always be able to find ammo scattered across the ground. And that's a big thing that not much people know either. Ammo count is especially important if you're using the Havoc. Now, if you get into the mag size here, here's the first advantage for the Havoc. 24 bullets in the mag and 10 bullets in the mag for the G7. Now, with the recent update, however, they still have extended light mags, but they don't have extended energy mags. That's a really big, you know, I guess you could say disadvantage, but at the same time, the base ammo is going to be higher with the Havoc, and it will always be higher pretty much with any single light mag you put on the G7, so that's a very big advantage for the Havoc. Now, the first disadvantage here comes in with the reload speed. The tactical and full reload speed for the Havoc is 3.20 seconds, which is not very long at all. It's literally 3 seconds. You can count 1, 2, 3, boom, your guns are loaded, cool. Now, the tactical reload for the G7 is 2.40 seconds, and the full reload for the G7 is 3 seconds. A tactical reload is when you reload midway through your mag, and a full reload is when you reload when it's fully empty. Here's where the guns start to compare drastically, alright? The DPS, damage per second, alright? For the Havoc, you're going to be dealing 201.6 DPS, and for the G7 Scout, it is 153. That is if you have the Havoc fully charged up, mind you, which is obviously going to be way better because it makes sense. You have a faster fire rate, so you're going to be putting out a higher damage output than a gun that isn't even fully auto, you know what I mean? So that is your first advantage. Getting into the damage numbers here, every single bullet you hit to the body with the Havoc will deal 18 damage, 36 every single headshot, and 13.5 every single leg shot. Now moving in to the G7 here, it is 34 to the body, 68 to the head, and 30.6 to the leg. So every single leg shot with the G7 is going to be dealing just about double what a body shot would give with the Havoc. But here's where things get interesting, alright? The fire rate, aka shots per second. You can fire off 4.5 shots per second with the G7 Scout, opposed to being able to fire off 11.2 shots per second if you have the Havoc fully charged up. That is where your advantage comes into play, because by the time you can get 2 rounds into an enemy with the G7 Scout, you can pretty much already get 4 rounds into them with the Havoc, which is where you're going to be able to melt teams a lot faster, get into 1v3 engagements a lot safer, and come out of games with the dub because you have an easier time slaying enemies. This is a very big advantage that no one really talks about. Doesn't matter how much damage you have, if you have a fast fire rate, you're going to come out clean. That's why the R97 or R99 is one of the best guns in this game. You know, you don't really have to worry about the damage that much because your fire rate is outputting an insane amount of bullets per second. Obviously, the G7 gives you a lot more range, which is why it could be a little bit better in most people's opinion. But a really big thing that most people don't ever talk about as well is ADS movement speed. ADS movement speed dictates how fast you can strafe in a gunfight and how much bullets you could potentially be able to dodge in a gunfight. G7 Scout gives you 36% movement speed, which is a 64% deduction, I believe, and the Havoc is up to 50, so you're basically going to be moving at half speed if you're ADSing, which is obviously very good. You know, you have a pretty big advantage there in the Havoc. You'll be able to strafe a lot faster. Obviously, it's not going to be anything to the P2020, which I believe is like 99 or 100% ADS movement speed, which is obviously very good. But this is still a very big and not too noticeable, but in game you definitely will be able to see it, advantage for the Havoc. And now this site actually does show time to kill as well. If you're going to be shooting, you know, for 34 damage every single body shot for time to kill, you can kill someone pretty much in 0.44 seconds to 1.11 seconds with the G7 Scout, and 0.45 seconds to 0.91 seconds with the Havoc with the turbocharger. If you don't have the turbocharger, this is where it gets a little bit rough because it goes from 0.45 seconds all the way down to a measly 0.95 seconds to 1.48 seconds just to down someone without the turbocharger. So obviously you're going to want to use this thing with the turbocharger. I'd say one of the best combos in the game if you want to absolutely rip people apart would be Havoc and G7 Scout combined. Obviously, like I said, you'd want to have the turbocharger, but these two guns really go hand in hand. But if you had to choose one over the other, I would definitely choose the Havoc over the G7. But I'm curious to see what you guys would say down below. Comment down below which gun you guys like better, and I'll see you guys later for another 8 seconds video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Like, subscribe, everything, Instagram link in the description below. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.